Welcome back, everyone, and thank you again for tuning into these little videos. Um, so jumping straight in again, last time we spoke about um, other inputs that influence the pain experience, and today we're going to start the bigger topic of a few series about inputs from the body to the brain. We talked about inputs that are already in the brain, like context and um, beliefs, and so on, that are influencing the pain experience. And now we're going to pull it in together with inputs from the body. Um, and one a very important input is actually um, food and inflammation and things of that nature. And when people with chronic pain can really find themselves on the end of a spectrum. On one hand, it's the people who uh, don't feel like eating at all when they're in chronic pain, and therefore they're not getting the nutrition that they need, and that's not good for the healing process. And then on the other end of the spectrum, people in pain want to eat like comfort eating, and so they might be getting a lot of calories, but not necessarily good nutrition. And we need good nutrition in order to heal the body as well. And we will have a special guest to talk about food more specifically coming up soon. So stay tuned. But today, what I want to talk to you is about a different spectrum, and this spectrum is the activity spectrum. Okay, so a lot of folks in pain end up with not knowing, how to do their activities. Okay, and this is where the concept of medical pacing comes in, and that's what I would like to talk to you about today. Okay, so we're talking about, now that we understand the context in terms of the brain for what the inputs are that are coming from the body, it's a lot easier to discuss. Basically, the brain is creating the pain experience for you in order to protect you from danger. So the brain is just is scanning for what is dangerous, and oftentimes people with chronic pain, they were used to doing a particular activity, and now when they do that activity, it hurts them. It's painful. So generally, there are two ways that most people handle this situation. On one end of the spectrum is the no pain, no gain group. This group says, you know what, um, I I hurt after walking for 20 minutes, but I'm going to walk 3 miles anyway. I'm not going to let this pain stop me. I'm not going to let this uh, um, decrease my level of function. No pain, no gain. I'm just going to bear through it and just walk my 3 miles anyway. Okay, that's the this end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum is the people who are like, you know what, everything I do seems to be painful, so I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and move as little as possible and do as little as possible. It hurts when I do this, it hurts when I do that, so I'll just either not do it or get somebody else to do it for me. So that's the no function end of the spectrum. Okay, now. Unfortunately, neither of these approaches is very good. Okay, so specifically the reasons why. The no pain, no gain group, they're basically ignoring the signals from the brain. Okay, they're basically saying, you know, I don't care if the brain is sending out these danger warnings and so on. I'm just going to ignore that. It's like ignoring the check engine light of your car. Okay, if you ignore it long enough, you're going to be stuck in a situation that could be much worse. Okay, so that strategy, you know, is flawed, and the people in that category tend to do these like huge cycles of, you know, they do a lot of function and then they like crash and then they're in a lot of pain and they're like stuck in bed for 3 days, and then, you know, once they recover they say, oh, now I can do something again. I'm just going to go and do as much as I can while you know, while I don't have the pain. And so they it's this roller coaster ride of a lot of pain, a lot of a lot of function, a lot of pain, no function, and up and down like that. Okay. On the other side of the spectrum, the couch potatoes approach to just not do anything because everything hurts. That's not good either, because the body needs movement and function. So if you're not moving, then you also get like atrophy of muscles. And then in terms of the brain, if you restrict movement and you're only working in a very small range, then when you go to then do a movement that's just outside the range, it starts responding to that as danger, and it creates more pain more quickly for you. So neither of these approaches is valid. So is there a third alternative? Well, there actually is, and it's called medical pacing. The reason it's called medical pacing is to distinguish it from regular pacing. Because regular pacing, we just say, well, I just need to pace myself. And yeah, pacing yourself is fine, but medical pacing has a very specific meaning. And that is basically that you find the amount of time or the amount of repetitions that you can do your desired activity where there is no pain. Okay, zero pain. Okay, so for example, the person who is able to walk 20 minutes and then they start getting pain at the 20-minute mark, well, certainly they shouldn't be doing the 3 miles, but they should not even be doing the 20 minutes. So maybe 10 minutes of walking is a completely painless experience. That means that the brain is acknowledging that 10 minutes of doing this activity is safe, it's not dangerous. So then what you do with medical pacing is you do 10 minutes of walking, and that is pain-free. And you keep doing that over and over, like maybe 3 or 4 times in a row, and then you just increase it a little bit, like maybe 10% or 20%. So the next time you do it for like 12 minutes, and then you do 12 minutes, and that seems to be okay as well. So you do 12 minutes, and you do that for the next 3 or 4 walks, and then you increase it again by a small amount, a 2-minute increment, you know, and so on. And what you find is that you're conditioning the brain not to react to this particular activity. Oh, the brain is thinking, you know what, this 10 minutes of walking, it seems pretty safe. And then when it went to 12, it seems pretty safe, and so on. And eventually you get to that 20-minute, which before was the painful mark, and you sail right past that 20-minute mark with no pain. And then you keep increasing it, 22, 24, and then you can maybe add 3 minutes at a time, and 27. Eventually you can get to that point where the brain is just not reacting to that activity. So this medical pacing is the way to work with the brain and not to work against the brain, or not to just not do anything at all. So it works for both kinds of people who, like, the ones who don't do any activity, they find a way to do an activity just for a short period of time or for a small number of repetitions. And when I teach this medical pacing, then invariably what I get is people come back and say, well, I tried your method and I did the activity until it was painful, and then I stopped, and I say, wait a minute, yeah, that means you didn't do it. You didn't do medical pacing. Okay, medical pacing means you do the activity and you stop before there is pain. Okay, it always has to be in a pain-free range, and that way you know that you're not activating the pain system. Okay, so that is an introduction to medical pacing. Please feel free to call me or text me or email me if you want me to help you with your specific activity and how to pace that up. And we'll be talking more about inputs from the body and what we can do about inputs from the body in the next few videos. And of course, as I said, we'll have somebody to talk about food and how important the food is in order for your healing pathway. Thank you very much. I will see you next time.